Tidak.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome. OTTV's coverage of the London Invite comes to a head with the Open Final. The hosts Clapham Ultimate taking on CUSB Fotta, the Italian powerhouse. A very good afternoon to you all watching on OTTV's YouTube channel. You join us at the Grasshoppers Rugby Club for the last game of the London Invite. We've just seen CUSB Shout take home the Women's Division title, and now Fotta will aim to do the same in the Open Division. Myself, Benji Rees on commentary, delighted to be joined for the final time this weekend by Rachel Douglas.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting game. These teams met each other yesterday, and Clapham came out with a fairly decisive victory there, but Fotta have been working hard today to see if they can change the trajectory of these games.
Bart Zassi wants to flick one deep to the end zone, and Laffy and Rossi just get caught up on each other's heels.
Oh yeah, nothing you can call there. That's if you're going to get tangled with your own teammates, that's just you're bad, I'm afraid. So that's a turnover.
Got to have better communication and better field awareness than that.
Yeah, they got absolutely tangled up together. Both in a full wipeout, and Clapham not having to make any sort of defensive effort on that one.
In yesterday's showcase game, Clapham started an offense and immediately got broken by Fotta. This time, the Bullfrogs will look for a little bit of a role reversal. Armola swings to McHale. And there's a foul downfield.
Swan Thompson rolling down the field, having to just rectify that slightly.
Riccardo Zanni is the Italian that he seems to have got tangled up with.
Both these teams, a violation called. Both these teams, very physical teams, very athletic.
I love the bit of frisbee when the frisbee doesn't happen and we just stand there waiting to get going again. Here we are, finally checked back in. McHale just throws that one too far for Modiano. Rare little bit of sloppiness from both sides early, and immediately given back.
Helton just pops up and then threw his hands, unable to come down with it. Uncharacteristic for these teams to have such quick turns in quick succession.
Swan Thompson gets it to Modiano, past the bidding Rossi. Modiano's put deep. Orcott tries to track it and he got too far underneath. Maybe got suckered in slightly by the bidding Bart Zassi.
Yeah, Bart Zassi went very early and definitely, I think, enticed a little bit more aggression than was necessary.
So 2 turnovers aside already in this game. Clapham had 2 turnovers in the entirety, Fotta had 2 turnovers in the entirety of their first half against Chevy, as that one, again, incomplete.
A huge foot block from Orcock, getting the disc back for his team.
McHale rips that one into Amala, just on the end zone line, and the little dish to Horry will give Clapham a break on the game's first point. They lead 1-0. Not particularly clean, certainly not the start that either side would have been hoping for, but Clapham prevailing in the end.
Yeah, definitely not how either team would want to come out. They're both looking to be coming out playing their own game, and that is definitely both sides looking to play a very clean game. And we saw there some defensive pressure, but largely just sort of execution errors, which has been very much the theme of some of these games. You know, with the wind, it's been a really big challenge, but I'm not sure that we can put any of that down to the wind. I think this is just a concentration issue, and perhaps last game of a tournament, it's been an intensely competitive tournament. You know, these are some of the top teams in this open division. These are a few of the 8 best teams in Europe. So there's no like, easy game. Every single every single point, every single game, super hard fought for.
That's the aim of the London Invite, to provide that last real test in the run-up to Worlds, taking place in just a few weeks' time. Some of these players for Clapham we'll see representing Great Britain at the World Games. They haven't announced the official final roster yet, but there's a few in the training squad at least. But otherwise, this is kind of the last intense competition you get.
Yeah, both teams definitely trying to test out all of their systems, test out their connections against some of the fiercest competition they can find.
Mikhail pulls this one, and it does keep its edge and come back in bounds. Zani, faking the big Garner, sags off the mark to get in that lane. Here's Gasparini. Gasparini to Rossi. Rossi rips it deep. He's looking for Cable. A couple of players underneath, and the towering figure of Charlie Butt snatches that one out of the sky. Cable got the better of him a couple of times yesterday, and Butt gets revenge in the final.
Charlie Butt with a big cheering section just dedicated to him this weekend. Always great to see.
Yeah, young man, a product of the University of Sussex, which I point out obviously because it was my alma mater. I don't know if you can see it under the shorts, but he's got a tattoo on his left thigh, I think, that says Vibes. And it was, I believe, a biro tattoo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
Horrifying news, but
maybe not the best. Isn't indicative of good decision making as Eels throws this one away.
Yeah, very aggressive swing look there, but not able to intercept it. Short field turn for La Fotta.
Gasparini finds Rossi. Rossi back to Gasparini. Oh, that might have been tipped again as well, and under a huge crowd of defenders. Rising above the maelstrom is Orion Cable to make it one apiece, but it was not the most aesthetically pleasing of points there from La Fotta.
Yeah, it wasn't, but again, you know, getting the job done. The conditions here, these gusts, have made it really challenging for teams to play the kind of clean offense they want to play, and it's really put a big emphasis on defense, being able to really rile up offensive movement and put a lot of pressure on. But as you see there, sometimes it's a bit messy, it's a bit swirly, and you just need to try and come down with it. And of course, Orion Cable very able to do that. A monstrous leap above everyone. I think he was at least half a height higher than anyone else going up there.
Yeah,
proving to be such a critical receiver for La Fotta.
I'm not sure if Mikhail got a little piece of that one on the mark, but either way, there's no way that Gasparini was wanting to airmail it that much, but it does help if that does happen when you've got a receiver like Cable on your side.
Yeah, I agree. I think perhaps there was maybe he got a foot slightly to it. There did seem to be some sort of touch from this angle. So again, that's a kind of a testament to the Clapham defensive pressure, but La Fotta gonna fight to try and come down with them, no matter how swirly they may be.
Tognetti contorts and twists his body with that spinning pull. Fielded by Briggs, first pass goes to Long. Back to Briggs. Immediately you can see that they're putting that backhand force because they do not want Briggs to unleash that flick huck.
Forehand bomb that's famous, renowned, strikes hard into the fears of his opponents.
Or even fear into the hearts. That one underneath, layout block comes flying through. The two 15s matched up against each other, and the German Hernschmeyer gets the better of Wilson. On the end zone line, that looked very travel-y to me.
Yeah, that's definitely needs to come back to the line.
I'm trying to think of a better way to say that, and I couldn't. Trying to force it into the end zone, just lost the footing, and the disc goes back Clapham's way. Carl just couldn't quite get there.
I think that was just Carl not expecting it. That was he was open and he didn't have a mark and just having to scramble because he was slightly slow to adjust.
Ford to Yo, back on the roster this week. Wasn't available for Windmill last week. Got a busy ultimate calendar ahead of him. One of those Clapham players potentially in that World Games squad. Awkward reset from Gordon, but it makes it to Mead.
Bit of a miscommunication, but Mead managing to adjust.
And now it's slotted to Briggs, past the bidding Santucci. Out wide, Ford extends himself to make the catch. You can feel that they're having to really test the margins. Hello, cheeky little push pass there from Justin Ford. Here's Mead, past Calarotta. Looking at the end zone, trying to float this one up for the back corner. Yo tries to get the read on it, but it was too far out the back.
A sigh from James Mead. He's known for precision throws. He's known for being able to really weight everything perfectly. But as we've seen time and time again this weekend, those round roll curve throws into that corner of the end zone are absolutely brutal. They are very unforgiving if you don't absolutely nail it, and by nail it I mean basically show none of the underside to the wind. They are sailing and they've been largely uncatchable. So a kind of a poor judgment there from Clapham, giving La Fotta their disc back.
Mead just got a little bit impatient with wanting to put that throw to the end zone, I think. Underneath, just about reeled in by Hernschmeyer. And then Nuchopo juggles but catches. And he rips this one down the centre of the field. It's tipped and it ends up in Ford's hands.
Laser reactions from Justin Ford to catch that one.
Santucci got nowhere near enough air on that huck. Briggs to Ford. Faking the inside backhand, and there's going to be a stoppage, I think.
Yeah, a pick as the players came in and Briggs tried to go out. As Ashley Yo streaks in.
Running a 1-2, Yo and Ford. Faking the deep. Again, he's liking that push pass out towards that weak side.
Justin Ford trying to rebrand himself as a bit of a spicy thrower, perhaps.
I'm not against it, as Wilson floats this up towards the far side and Briggs rips it out of the sky. That old York Uni connection coming in strong. Briggs was a little bit of an inspiration, I think, for Wilson coming into play, because those of you familiar with Conrad Wilson will know that his brother Magnus played for Clapham for many years, and his approach was a lot more conservative than Conrad's is, which is a bit more spectacular at times. And that time he had a little bit of a penchant for the deep look, and put this one deep and just about getting it over Tognetti is Briggs.
Quite an exciting option for Clapham. Wilson taking on that shot to that far end zone corner over a lot of players. It's not a very safe option. It came off. He really backed Briggs there, but there were a number of defenders in the area. It's quite sort of unusual to see Clapham taking these riskier options. They normally are really a team that run very, very solid systems and take really high percentage options.
When I think about old school Clapham, that's what stands out to me about how parsimonious they were with the disc. They never gave it up. But yeah, when these the slightly younger crop of players came through, like Briggs and Wilson, you know, they gave themselves a bit more of a license perhaps to take some of those riskier shots, because they really backed their defense after the turn to get it back. Arturo Laffy swings the disc to Pelican. DeLuca out wide low, but Cable scoops it. Here's Mastroianni. Into the backfield for the reliable De Luca. Lovely inside shot. Finds Rossi. Gets that out quickly. Now it's Cable to Laffy. This might be a pick. Also shout out to our main man, Milan van den Bovenkamp, who has provided some refreshments to the commentary booth. Cheers, everyone. Cable, he's looking for Laffy as the reset. Hillman tries to mirror him, but it gets off anyway. Now Gasparini. Wanting the reset, threads it through to De Luca. De Luca falls over a little bit. Looking towards the far side. And Clapham will get the disc.
Fotta really using the space really well there, creating a lot of opportunity for their cutters to make good cuts and to find gaps between the Clapham defense, but just getting towards the end zone, and that just seemed to collapse slightly, really putting a lot of pressure into that far side right around the disc.
Armola, been with Clapham a few years now, becoming more of a formidable presence on that D-line as he settled into this roster.
He made some outrageous plays in their matchup yesterday, including an unbelievable layout save that was really sensational and is hopefully on all the highlight reels. Not sure what happened with that pass. That was poorly executed and potentially a very poor decision. So
yeah, Mikhail just never got anywhere near enough air on that. Not the first time we've seen a hut from that direction be too low, or this is the first time Clapham have done it. Fotta were guilty of that earlier. Gasparini with a delicious breakout to Mastroianni. What a throw that is. It's two apiece. Wow.
Fotta coming out firing, so much energy from that side of the field. They just really seem to be a kind of a fired up and excited to be here. They came out of the matchup yesterday with a loss. So obviously when you come in to see that team again and have the opportunity for a rematch, oftentimes you are, the underdog, and therefore
you've got the point to prove.
Yeah, that really gives you that extra energy. At the moment, the Clapham boys walking to the line just look a little woeful, a little sad. This is early in the game. But
I think maybe rather than being, I'd call it measured.
I don't know. They look a bit flat to me.
That could be. There are some teams that really, you do see them, go up and down and really feel their emotions. There are other teams that prefer to keep their cards a little bit close to their chest. Clapham probably somewhere in between the two.
Yeah, they'll. As and when they need to, they'll get fired up.
Yeah,
perhaps.
there are certain players especially really, really let it show, and then there are others who kind of wonder sometimes if they are capable of emotion. What a throw that was by Gasparini, that low release break. Nothing the force could do about it. Really threw Mastroianni open. Wilson, wow, just about snuck that. Past the bid of Zeno Comerato. And Briggs Turfs. More unforced turnovers in this game. Morri and Gibson, two titans of the game from their respective continents. Gibson with that backwards hat. I think he's calling the double team, but Abrams is saying that this isn't a double team. I'm in that space, but only because I'm marking Corazza.
Yeah, curious call for even for a player who's in the AUDL and perhaps more equipped to deal with the double team.
That is true, where the double teams are legal.
But that call, I think, rejected. It's not a double team. Abrams is in there, is marking someone.
Yeah, in there legally. Underneath to Morri. Morri dishes to Comerato. Comerato! Oh, I think Morri left it for Gibson, and Wilson snatched it away.
Snaky D from Wilson.
Right, just slithered in there. And
using those long arms, doesn't have to put too much effort in. Just whips out and comes down with that. A Wilson Gibson matchup, I think, is going to be a great for the game.
Got a really good angle of that. We've got Edgar Stimpers on cam 2 today, and he nailed that one. Mead wants the break around to Abrams. Abrams opens it up. He's looking for Yo. I think this might be undercooked. No. Just got caught a little bit underneath it, did Karatsa. If he was an inch or two taller, I think it'd have been fine. This might go back, actually. Travel potentially on the throw. I thought this was going to be intercepted, but he couldn't quite get there. Yo read it well.
Davide Morri doing a whole performance, a reenactment of his perception of Tom Abrams' perceived travel.
I don't mean this in a negative way. There is an air of pantomime sometimes about Davide Morri, in the sense that everything can be quite exaggerated. It's, yeah, it is always exciting to watch. He's an extremely expressive character.
Yeah, that's definitely a known fact around the European ultimate community. Abrams doesn't go for the big one, opts to dump to Briggs.
Trying to get it off that sideline. Briggs floats this one out for Ford. Continuation to Abrams, maybe no. So Abrams comes through. Nice little inside backhand. Abrams wants this disc out of his hands pretty quick. And he does so to Ford. Ford opens it up. He's uncorking it. It's Mead of all people who's streaking deep. Mine can't track it over his head. Mead thinks about the instant one in, instead goes with that low release flick to Yo. That'll do it for 3-2.
Great work from James Mead. So many people we've seen trying to go and collect those long discs today, just come under that bit too much. And we saw it from the defense, but he wasn't fooled. He knew that the wind was going to carry it and positioned himself perfectly to receive that. Trying to jump it in, but also not being too worried about the fact that he didn't manage it. Nice and calm, and of course, Ashley Yo. Those two have played together for a long time now, and Ashley Yo, an incredibly safe receiver, goes and gets free for him in the end zone.
I can't remember the last time I saw James Mead go deep for Clapham. It's not that he's incapable of it, clearly, but you feel like of all the 7 on that line, he's maybe the most unlikely deep option, which is partly why maybe it works so well.
Yeah, maybe got a little lost on field and found himself in the deep area, but if they're not expecting him to make that cut, they expect him to be a thrower, but up in the handler set. Yeah, why not exploit that? And worked out perfectly for Clapham. So a scrappy point earlier at that sort of first possession. Like, I don't know who that was, but that wasn't the Clapham that I've seen over the years. A number of just throwaways, you know, just miscommunications and very careless turns. Yeah,
maybe it's down to the pressure that this La Fotta defense is putting on them, that they feel like they really have to push the margins with every throw. And actually, sometimes they don't need to be quite so extensive with it. Going for the rolly pull out of that far sideline, trying to trap them on what you coined earlier this weekend as the sideline of death.
Yeah, love to bring some drama to the game. And so far it's been quite an apt name. So many teams really struggling to get it off that sideline. It's been kind of a...
No one's died though, at least, which is something.
Wow, some hopes and dreams perhaps.
Some offenses, yeah. Zani thinks about the reset to DeLuca instead. Rossi comes underneath. Funk really trying to trap him on that line. Pivoting this way and that. Finds the option of Parodi.
Fotta cutters really having to work so hard, battling for the open space. Clapham defense trying to shut it all down and doing a great job of getting a high stall count on the disc each time.
Hori dumps off to... can't get a block in the mark, it's dumped off to Rossi. Rossi to DeLuca, and he finds Zani. Rossi again on that sideline. He's so quick with those hand movements. Looks like he could get the disc out at any second. Ripped through the center of the field, past a couple of La Fotta receivers. None of them can get their hands to it, and it hits the turf. Fabio Coppi really leathered that one through the center of the park.
Well, Orion Cable got his hand to it. That was it'll pass over most of the field, but it's not going to get over Cable.
And Mikhail looking deep for Hori, right to the back corner. Oh, what a put, what a grab. Past the bidding Parodi. 4-2, Clapham break once more. Inch perfect put from Conor Mikhail, and Hori answered the call with aplomb.
Yeah, Hori getting really high to receive that point. Very athletic play, under pressure, outstanding. and Clapham getting loud. That now starting to see a little bit of energy pick up, but it really needing to come off of a positive play, and Morri more than providing it with that collection.
Just about got the shot of it in between those Fotta heads. Can we push those sideline cones back a bit? We don't want more Finney footage. You've got more than enough of that already, unfortunately.
Timeout seems to have been called. I didn't see the call, but judging by how the teams are standing around.
Yeah, Fotta down a couple of breaks. It makes sense to me why they would call this. We're going to take a little bit of a break as well, but don't go anywhere, because the open final here at London Invite continues.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member
and fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
To help us grow Ultimate, the easiest way of doing that, liking, subscribing to our YouTube channel and ringing the bell for notifications. I know a lot of you are, but about a third of you are not, and we can definitely improve that. Or, alternatively, for as little as a pint of beer a month, you can become a member of our Patreon page. Nearly 400 of you, and we thank you overwhelmingly for your support. Just getting a look at the CUSB roster. It's games like this that you have been able to help make happen for Ulti TV, and we are always thankful for that. And there was their opponents, Clapham, the Bullfrogs, the host side here at London Invite at the Grasshoppers Rugby Club. Up a couple of breaks here, 4-2, midway through this first half.
Definitely feels like a tight game. Clapham having achieved a couple breaks, but Fotta still very much in this and fighting for every point and every pass.
It's Benji Rees and Rachel Douglas in the booth for the last game of the weekend. And DeLuca drops. The throw was a little bit behind. He was going one way, the disc going the other, and he couldn't snatch it. Usually ever reliable, Alessandro DeLuca. Hillman picks up. Amala's face marked by Rossi as the reset. Instead, Modiano comes underneath. Looking for Hillman. Still count rising. Just leads that throw to Mikhail. A little bit of inside-out shape on it. Hillman to Armola. Waiting for an option. Hillman desperately trying to uncover himself. Still count rising. Gets it off. Hillman has to toe the sideline and maybe landed awkwardly or maybe a little bit of cramp.
There's an injury, he's going off with an injury, something in his foot. Quite a calm and non-dramatic injury, maybe the calmest and most docile injury call I've seen. But Swan Thompson comes on to take his place.
Always a reliable option to bring on with the disc. Finds Mikhail with his first pass. Looking for Modiano with the high release. Hops it into the end zone. Slams it into the turf. Another Clapham break. It is 5-2 now.
An execution error, giving that disc back to Clapham with a short field.
That's a dangerous proposition.
It is incredibly dangerous. And, you know, if you want to stay competitive in this game, you really can't be giving them any easy turnovers. And at the moment, both teams started off kind of scrappy with some execution errors. We saw Clapham throwing away on kind of simple resets, but they seem to be kind of shifting that a little bit, tightening up. At the moment, Fotta still making those errors.
Modiano, been on Clapham a few years now, originally out of Bath University.
Yeah, he's a sensational player and has really been so helpful to Clapham. You know, he's one of those guys that when you need someone to get free, maybe on a high stall count, he'll do it for you. And I've walked past one of their games earlier today and just seen him leaping around. He's got some crazy hops.
Yeah,
very athletic and
I don't think of him necessarily as like highlight player, but is more than capable of making those plays, and I find always makes good decisions, ever reliable, and also has an adorable dog, which is always something nice to throw into the bargain. A lovely little Dachshund called Powter.
Yep, a fan favourite for sure.
Was hoping to see Powter and Oscar the Halfbecky this weekend, but no dogs on site, so that was Powter out, and apparently Becky was here yesterday, but unfortunately I did not run into her. Not sure what the call is here. Offside, maybe? Or, I don't know.
Oh, I think the issue is that one of the La Fotta players on the sideline stopped the roll. Is that the issue?
I've no idea. Either way, they've got it resolved.
That was curious.
Low release to the Czech Pelican. Dumped off DeLuca, looks for Laffy, no, instead Cable comes underneath, but there's two cutters in that space. Now the stall count rises, but Laffy squirms his way free of eels. Now Helton rips the huck to absolutely no one.
Yeah, maybe a miscommunication with Orion. Cable definitely not going deep, but Helton thought, hey, if I see Cable downfield.
You'd thought that maybe the Americans, having played with each other a little bit more, would have maybe that extra bit of chemistry coming over to La Fotta, but maybe not.
Kurt Gibson and Goose Helton have certainly played together. I'm not sure if there's been a lot of crossover otherwise. Of course, the US being
it's a big place.
It's a big place,
yeah,
lots of teams.
Fair enough.
I think just by virtue of being American is perhaps not sufficient for the connection. Although having said that, Ben Funk was the one who was closest to that disc, and he is also an American, so perhaps there's something there.
Yeah, West Coaster played his college ultimate, as they call it, as a member of Stanford Bloodthirsty. Came over here to do a doctorate, I think, at Cambridge. I don't think he ever finished it in the end, and then has found himself as a key part of this Clapham side and has never left. Goose Helton inside. Barzassi with the forward roll makes the catch. Now DeLuca wants to thread this in. Oh, Slaughter definitely got a piece of that, but not enough as it finds its way to Helton for the score.
Massive effort from Hayden Slaughter. Such a brutal play. You could really hear the impact as he hit the ground. He came in really hot and was so tight to that, but Helton able to come down with that for the score.
I must admit, for a second there, wow, I don't know how Barzassi kept that up, by the way. I really thought that Lafotta's goose was cooked, but somehow DeLuca really snuck that one in there. That is threading the needle.
Yeah, absolutely, and Helton no stranger to receiving a disc under pressure. Wasn't too worried about it, wasn't going to fumble that one. But definitely seen a lot of pressure from the Clapham defense. Helton had it on the sideline and put it out for a swing, and not able to connect with his initial target, I think, and that had to be rescued from very low. So really, I think a testament to Clapham's defense that La Fotta had to work so hard and make so much effort to keep possession there, but still not actually generating the turn yet. La Fotta still in this game, scoreline 5-3 to Clapham, but La Fotta putting in every effort to try and stay in this game, and there's still a lot of time for breaks back.
Yeah, they're not going to go down without a metaphorical fight. Abrams catches the ball and dishes to Mead in a much more familiar position as a handler. Abrams wants to sit this one out there for Ford. Waited beautifully from Mum. Gordon Finds Mead, thought about forcing that one into Ford, but this time cooler heads prevailed. Wants the reset, everything focused on that front cone. Eventually finds it to Gordon. Gordon gives it back to Mead in a much more central position. So much easier to attack the break side here. Briggs underneath defender pits but doesn't get there. Back to Mead. There's no one on that break side. Could have been the opportunity, but the synergy wasn't there with the Clapham cutters.
Some sort of call. Briggs and his defender perhaps having a bit of contact or something similar. Clapham really having to scramble here. Fotta shutting down those options.
So I'm beginning to beat down here in West London. Mead to Ford, completely overthrew him.
Yeah, it was low and it was wide.
I wonder if maybe he was looking to pull out of that slightly as this huck deep. Combination of Cartwright and Gordon get in the way.
Wow, that was steaming down there. It wasn't quite deep enough for the Fotta player to keep going deep. Oh, there's a foul call there.
I don't think Venturoli is overly enthused about this call.
I'm sure he's not, but that did look like a significant amount of contact straight through Wilson's back. In my opinion, that was a foul.
Yeah, obviously, what we think is not important unless they ask us.
Well, we have a captive audience at home, and let my opinion be known. He's definitely coming from behind Wilson and trying to get a play on the disc where I don't think he has a clean line to it.
Yeah, he's trying to kind of come round the outside and get a hand in there,
yep.
But I don't think he does that without contacting Wilson.
I think there's a significant amount of contact that is generated from Venturoli. On field, it's been a contested foul call and it's gone back to Gordon.
Briggs to Ford. Ford might dish this off to Mead, just fakes it on this occasion. Briggs, Ford fakes the up line. Jinks back into the backfield. Low release. Gordon snatches it off the rubber crumb. Back to Ford. Oh, Ford just bobbled that one. Justin Ford dropped it. Now I have seen everything. Dognetti takes the timeout.
Yeah, there has to have been... you have to say that Clapham are looking rattled, so I don't think there's any other explanation for it.
And Fotta must be rattled as well because they did not have a timeout to take. So, unlike in USAU, where I don't know if it still is, but that used to be a turnover, timeout when you don't have one just adds 2 to the score out here.
Big play from Gatti to keep that disc alive.
And then quickly wants out of his hands to Hernschmeyer, but Mead rips the disc back.
A lot of space downfield. Gordon puts that out to Ford.
Yeah, nice put to space that. Ford back to Mead. Now Ford to Wilson for 6-3.
After making it look so hard earlier, they then make it look so easy towards the end of that point.
Strange.
Huge defensive effort from James Mead, not only getting that block, but catching it, coming down with it, and of course, as a handler, he just leaps up and is immediately looking for the next option, which gets the disc moving, and they find Ford in so much space downfield. A very decisive turn for Clapham.
Yeah, just lovely throw that one. Just sits that out a bit better into space. And then Wilson, with those long limbs, just streaks past Venturoli. And Wilson catches his first goal of the game to go along with an assist in 3 blocks. Wow. All right, fair play, comrade. I never think of him as being a defender, obviously, because he's on the O-line. But clearly making his presence felt when that Clapham O-line just turned it over.
Yeah, if you recall, he got at least one snaky D.
Oh, he did, didn't he? Yeah.
He did, yeah. He's an eclectic player, Conrad Wilson. He can do it all.
And he got a ridiculous block in the showcase game yesterday, where he poached off and then flew through to snag the disc away before Chopo could get it for a huge Clapham Callahan.
Yeah. He's also a proud member of the Jolly Rogers team that will be going to the European Beach Club Championships in October.
Oh, on the sands of Portimao in the south of Portugal. Did Cable keep that up?
That was down.
Yeah, not really any discussion about that. They called it down, and
it happened directly in front of the commentary booth, so we can say with some authority.
Mikhail to Martin on this sideline. Fakes the down the line. Now Morri tries to squeeze it in there and can't make the catch. Playing in such fine margins when you're trapped on that sideline. Here's Helton. Once more he's looking for the big shot. Bart Zassi is the receiver this time, and he gave himself space to leap towards the disc, but not on this occasion. Foul called on the throw. It's a crazy athletic bid by Bart Zassi.
They're going to come over to see if there is some replay that we're able to provide.
Oh God, it'd be really underwhelming if we didn't have it. That's the catch at the other end. I mean, still looks great, but that's not the issue at play here.
That's not the replay that we're needing to use to clarify.
I feel very popular all of a sudden, Rach. Anyone got a pen so we can sign some autographs? That must be why they're here. Here we go. I love this when both players look at the replay and come up with different conclusions. Solves everything.
That replay again.
So the issue is whether that contact from Mikhail is after the disc is released.
No.
Foul retracted.
Yeah, still perhaps a little bit of surprise from Helton.
Yeah, I
definitely felt that contact.
No doubt that the call was made in good faith, and obviously felt that the contact affected it, but sometimes things happen in such close calls that your interpretation and your memory of it is not necessarily how it looks from the outside.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's always nice when the players recognise that they do have the option to come and look at the replay, and although usually it says you can't delay the game to look at the replay, that certainly wasn't an issue here. They all came over.
Yeah, if the players are happy to look at it, then we're more than happy to provide it. Mikhail jacks it for Morri once more. This time he can't quite get there.
Massive effort from Morri, really putting himself on the line, literally and figuratively, diving through the front of the end zone line, but unable to come down with it. Great effort. Oh.
He's not a tall player, but my word, can Morri cover some ground as the two number 9s, Gasparini and Orcock.
Orcock just nailing right into him. Not sure what the reason was for that, just a lack of self-control there, but goes straight into the front of him. Bit of a surprise.
Yeah, Orcock, unsurprisingly, does not contest the foul. Helton looks deep once more, looking for Cable. Felix Martin knows that he's not going to get there. Also, he was picked.
Yeah, there was a pick call, so he stopped running.
I was going to say, if he stopped running because he just thought that he was beaten deep, he would have looked like a fool when it didn't make it to the end zone. Helton, well, he wants it again. This time he's looking for Cable again. It's Martin in defence again, and Cable somehow comes up with it again. Felix Martin looks around like, well, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, lots of bodying on that rundown, like very, very physical attempt from Felix Martin and Orion Cable, both to try and get position. Felix Martin, after not being able to get the defense, turns around with a sort of a slightly resigned smile on his face, as you say, just sort of, you know, what am I supposed to do in this situation? But a very solid effort, and he got there.
He's millimetres away from that, I think.
That's maybe the closest pressure we've seen on Orion Cable in this game and in their game yesterday. Yeah, very, very impressive defensive effort from Felix Martin, but just not quite enough on this occurrence.
I think that was the third time we'd seen Helton with that flick huck. Not with the flick huck, but with a huck. At that point, the first one was a little too far. The second one came back on the pit call. The third one finally connected.
Yeah, that's definitely been a move for Helton, getting the kind of the under and then just looking. He's got those really precise hucks, able to put it pretty much anywhere he wants in the end zone, and that's definitely been a move that La Fotta have been exploiting.
Helton's reputation as maybe the ultimate athlete precedes him.
Yeah, well, he's of course one of the founders of Game Point Performance, and is, yeah, an unbelievable athlete.
Something a little bit different this time from La Fotta's defense, going with a zone. And I think that might be a foul on the mark.
Yeah, there was a block, but it goes back. Justin Ford calling the foul.
Ford blading it over the top. Finds Wilson sitting in that space. Wilson rips it, but he underthrew it. And Gibson very calmly just pats it to the turf.
Very casual D.
Just shepherds it on its way. Here is Gibson, one of the sport's most decorated players. Gibson wants to rip it deep. Mine is going to chase it down. Yo's given up the charge, and Mine drops the catch. Wow, wow, wow.
Total devastation for La Fotta. That throw from Gibson was inspired.
It's an absolute monster.
A monstrous throw with just the most precise execution. That just could not have been a better throw.
The hands just aren't quite in sync with one another. You do wonder maybe whether that cast he's got on his hand had somewhat of an impact, or whether he just metaphorically or maybe literally took his eyes off the ball.
Oh, he has a cast on his hand. Oh, well, 100% that will have had an impact. I think that's a really challenging thing to be playing in. So yeah, I'm sure that would have been.
But given that you're out there, he will not want to use that as an excuse. Forward back to Yo. Morri and Ford.
Fiery matchup. Those two have probably matched up against each other countless times now. Very familiar faces.
Mead. Goes short to Ford. This look from La Fotta really has stifled Clapham a bit here.
Absolutely, really not finding that downfield movement. Tight windows. Every pass under a huge amount of pressure from La Fotta.
Yo coming all the way into the backfield. Now give going to Ford. Sneaks it down the sideline to Mead, and it's back in Ford's hands. Really trying to move the mark around. Mead comes short. Trying to move it quickly. Briggs back into the backfield. Ford threads it through to Long. Long finds Yo. Clapham with a bit of room to work with, and Wilson drops it. He was definitely looking at the next pass.
Wilson, of course, here doing double duty, both as a Clapham player and as the tournament organizer. Perhaps just a little fatigued from wearing both hats.
Morri goes with the offhand, backhand to Gibson, but it's low, and it ricochets off Gibson's knees.
Yeah, a little frustration from Gibson. I just think he doesn't understand why that didn't come in as a sort of a cleaner throw.
Briggs with a flick of the wrist, gets the backhand to Leung. Leung back to Briggs. Briggs shooting over the top. Gordon off his hands. I don't know whether he got caught a little bit underneath it a little bit. Maybe didn't realise that he could have taken a step closer towards the sideline and made that an easier catch for himself.
I think he was fairly close to the sideline and aware of it, and therefore trying to manage it, but that was right at the edge of his fingertips. And of course, the wind is having quite an impact on that sideline. So a challenging catch, one he would usually make though. Gibson
with a rising stall count, sees no other option but to jack it. He's looking for Morri, but it's over Ford's head and into Morri's arms. That's a break for Fotta. They're only down one now at 6-5.
A battle of a point, so many turnovers, so much beautiful offensive movement, totally stifling defensive pressure, a really long point that eventually Fotta able to put it in, definitely taking the wind out of Clapham's sails a little bit. Quite a few careless errors from Clapham, giving turnovers where they didn't need to be given, but also full testament to the Fotta defense really stifling Clapham's offensive movement. And yeah, that was a very high stall count throw, I think, from Gibson, but as we said before, that guy, he knows how to laser that exactly where he wants it.
Second time that point, he absolutely rocketed a forehand.
Unbelievable power behind that, and the rotations just unreal. It looked like there was no wind at all.
Can really gun it.
Yeah, what's been so crippling for other players, like really kind of debilitating impact on their throwing portfolio, but not for Kurt Gibson. Not even sure he's noticed it's windy.
Is it windy?
Not for Kurt.
Just to clarify, it is definitely blustery out there. So Tognetti readies himself. I expect another deep spin pull coming here. Abrams gets forward to duck so he can field the pull more cleanly. Hillman's crossed over to play some offense now. Do like to use Hillman both ways, and actually another lefty, Michaela's also come over to offense after quite a lengthy point that ended in the Fotta break. Briggs to Ford. Tognetti on the mark, trying to make as much of a nuisance of himself as he can. Briggs leans out to this flick for Yo, he's putting it deep, looking for Hillman, and it's on the money. And Ashley Yo Huck, what a rarity, but it works this time for Clapham, 7-5.
Yeah, Ashley Yo cutting to the sideline there in miles of space. Not sure if it was an amazing setup for his cut that really lost his defender, or if perhaps there was a bit of a miscommunication from Fotta, but either way, had miles of space to receive that. And of course, his teammates happy to cut off of that for him into the end zone. Hillman, well-timed cut, really booking it to get down there ahead of his defensive player, and rewarded with the score.
Yes, holding the wrong way slightly to create that separation. We're seeing players up on the sideline, including, among others, Will Rowledge, who is not playing for Clapham this weekend, put his shoulder out in a bid in the semi-final against Is No Good at Windmill last week. Tough injury.
Yeah, it's a big loss for Clapham. He's been such a clutch player on defense, and also has really kind of expanded his offensive play and his sort of decision making over recent months and years. He was known always as an astonishing athlete and a brilliant D player, but has really put the time in to work on his throwing. Yeah, and that of course will be part and parcel of being part of the World Games squad for GB. So that shoulder injury, a real shame for him, but he's he'll be sorely missed for this Clapham side, certainly.
That pull is not good.
Yeah, there's sort of no two ways about it. That was a bad pull.
Got a lot of gas on it, did Mikhail, but the line was all wrong, and that will be brought in at the brick mark for Fotta.
Not sure if he was expecting. I mean, the wind has died, but I also think that if the wind was blowing a bit more, that still would that might have actually made it worse.
Yes, I know. It's not like, oh well, the wind changed that. Just got it all wrong.
Yeah, and I feel we can say that because Conor McHale's pulls are usually outstanding. So
Laffy into the gut of Rossi. Back to Laffy with that orange 5-panel hat. De Luca, often hatted himself. Goes to Gasparini with some very fetching Tom's tawny socks. Laffy, oh my word, no way. Garner got the point block, but Rossi rescued it. You got to catch your point blocks, maybe. Gasparini looking for an option on a rising stall count. Just about finds Rossi before the stall count ticked away. Cable with Gordon on the force. Goes to Zani. Zani wants to put this one up for Cable. Ollie Gordon's got the inside line and gets the block.
Unbelievable defense from Clapham. Just giving Fotta nothing.
I just can't believe it was kind of half point block, half foot block. But what recognition from Rossi to rescue it, and Clapham can't do anything with it. And Fotta punched it right in.
Hard to see from this angle what just happened with that Clapham turnover, but again, a single pass turn, not the Clapham that we're used to seeing, and such a shame after putting on such unbelievable defense.
Garner picked up and just a simple miscommunication.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Garner. Getting the block that wasn't a block. Picking up the turn and a miscommunication on the dump pass. Just goes straight to ground, right on the Fotta end zone line.
And then the little cheeky Swedish, just pick it up and almost drop it straight into the...
Barely a rotation in the air and it's a score.
Not that it needs to make one, of course. That's one of the rules that I frequently hear quoted, which does not exist. Disc has to make an X number of rotations, which, let me tell you, it definitely does not. You can throw it with as little spin as possible as you wanted, and it would still be valid. I wouldn't recommend doing that, though, especially in these conditions, because the disc will not end up where you want it to.
Yeah, it might be valid by the rules, or probably not valid by your teammates, who would be thoroughly unimpressed with a zero rotation disc.
It is allowed, but not recommended. Mead. Inside break goes to Ford. Briggs takes off, but he's not looked at. With a rising stall count, Ford breaks on the far side to Cartwright. Play has sort of stopped, but there isn't a stoppage. That was weird, and now everyone has stopped.
Yeah. Sometimes there's no stoppage, but if everyone stops, it becomes a stoppage.
One of the weird vagaries of Ultimate Rules.
We all just sort of accept it and move on, but players resetting to bring it in after a no stoppage.
Thomas Cartwright. That low release flick that was rising rapidly, but finished right at Ford's chest.
Yeah, that looked uncomfortable, but Clapham really just needing to reset the stall count.
Everything looking very compressed and congested. Briggs makes the cash, bumps into Crisafulli afterwards. Low backhand to Abrams. Abrams to Long. Long to Briggs. Finds Wilson. There's a little bit of litter on the field. Here's Abrams to Mead, to Ford for half, 8-6. The first half of that point was a real grind for Clapham, but eventually it feels like Fotta either tired themselves out or those bids put them out of position. And Clapham capitalised, as they so often do.
Yeah, and that's sort of been the story of the game so far as well. Clapham sort of finding rhythm, and then Fotta looking like they're able to put some pressure on, but ultimately Clapham still ahead 2 points as they take half. And now coming into this timeout for half, they're going to be having a discussion, Fotta, around how they can try and keep the momentum shift in their favour and come out firing. That, you know, they're still very much in this game, and their defensive pressure has been great.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
Can Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Hartlinger Elverkel. Fantastic run by Julia Love.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
Let's subscribe Ulti TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of Ulti TV.
Regardez Ulti TV. Deviens un membre d'Ulti TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Top Ulti TV تلمه eroginkime Ultimate Vandromene.
Si quieres ayudar a Ulti TV, puedes ser miembro de Ulti TV.
Everyone, follow Ulti.tv on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love frisbee. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på Ulti TV.
Became member of
Ulti TV.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec Ulti TV.
Like and subscribe, Ulti TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
With thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
we work with local teams, and we all have the same mission: to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and news stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future, and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back to Ulti TV's coverage of the London Invite. The Open final is in progress with the second half just about to get underway La Fotta from Bologna, Italy, down 6-8 to the host side, Clapham of Great Britain. With Clapham receiving to begin the second half. Beautiful afternoon with a bit of a breeze here at the Grasshoppers Rugby Club in West London. And in the booth for the final half of the tournament, I am Benjamin Rees, joined by Rachel Douglas. I can't believe it's nearly over.
Yeah, it's been an amazing weekend here. This London Invite tournament hosted by Clapham, organised by Conrad Wilson and Connor McHale on the Clapham side, really has been outstanding. These pitches are amazing, the organisation's been great, and we've just seen competitive game after competitive game. It's such a useful tool for teams preparing for Cincinnati World Club Championships to be able to come here and have one sort of last really competitive crack at each other to iron out their systems before heading over there.
I have had multiple players tell me that this is the best surface they've ever played on here. Not just the AstroTurf field, but the grass behind us, which is immaculately kept. That pull from Tognetti rolled out the back of the end zone without being touched. So Long will bring it to the front. He finds Yo. Yo swings to Mead, and now Mead downfield to Ford. Briggs begins to take off. Plants comes underneath. Toes it in on this sideline. Even got on-brand Clapham socks. Still count rising. Briggs just gets rid of it, and Gordon just dunked off his chest. Maybe, like, bounced off the collarbone, perhaps.
Frustration from Gordon. He thought he had that one.
It was a difficult catch to make. Morri got Briggs into a really high stall count, and Gordon's just caught a little bit behind the disc there, and that's a break for La Fotta.
Yeah, that was a confusing moment.
Almost underwhelming somehow.
Yeah, confusing moment in the end zone where number 15, Horschmeyer, manages to kind of get position, but then despite two Clapham players in the area, no one contests it. No one sort of tries to get involved. So I think perhaps from Gordon, as you say, he didn't have position. And while normally there would be some sort of athletic bid there, perhaps he was worried about contact. But I don't know, it just looked, somewhat underwhelming. But La Fotta won't be mad about that.
Yeah, Hornschmeyer was a World Games alternate for Germany, although I don't think Holger Beutemühl is going to be able to take part, so maybe he might slot into that spot, who knows. But a break on the first point of the second half. Morri got Briggs into a really high stall count on the sideline. He chose to try and put up that blade. It was a really awkward catch for Gordon, but given he got himself underneath it, he'll be disappointed not to have stuck it.
Yeah, it's unusual. There's been a number of those this game. Sort of, okay, they are challenging, but that usually doesn't mean that Clapham won't come down with them. But definitely feeling a bit of pressure maybe, and just not kind of clinching out those more challenging moments as they usually would.
I must admit, I thought the stall count was a little fast, but Josh Briggs did not, and that's what matters. That ball is going to float and just drift out of bounds on the far side. Abrams will bring it in from the brick.
.66 minutes gone in this game.
So cap not far away. Game's played to 70 minutes, and then cap +1 if you don't get to 15. Abrams jogs the last couple of steps to the brick mark. Goes to Mead, back to Abrams. Ford comes underneath on that far side, being marked by Gibson. A matchup I'm sure both of them will relish.
To Ford, that was actually Ashley Yo on the far sideline.
That's what I meant to say. I know who they are, trust me. That one low, and Wilson, oh my word, what are you doing? How did he stick that? No way! That was weird in the extreme.
Yeah, Conrad Wilson, I think we saw a drop from him earlier, which is very, very out of character. He's a person who doesn't, will not let the disc go if it's in his vicinity. And despite the fact that just looked impossible, manages to hold on to that one for the score.
Yeah, puts it out there. Yo's underneath it, gets away, and he gets his hands wrong and just about catches the backside of the disc.
Yeah, certainly has control of that before he hits the ground, and then manages to hold on to it despite that impact. That was really outstanding work from Wilson. A great effort.
I mean, weird, very strange, but they all count the same, whether it's a picture-perfect layout, a simple clap catch, or whatever the heck that was.
It's not always going to be beautiful, but yeah, getting the job done is going to be the primary goal. And being able to come away with those points, even if it's scrappy and a bit of a mess.
Well, it's just like commentary. We're not always going to get the players' names right, but as long as the whole thing generally flows, it's all right.
Games are now over.
So there's there is the hooter, which sounds just like someone speaking into a microphone, because that's what it is. Mikhail chooses to go with a rolling pull. My word, that picked up speed as he skimmed it on the ground. Helton doesn't do the best job of stopping it, and it rolls out of the sideline. Mikhail's just sagging off slightly before closing up on that mark.
Lots of space on the field, but Fotta not really giving Helton any options.
Gasparini. Swung all the way to De Luca. De Luca underneath to Gasparini. Modiano puts the mark on. Cable being marked by Orcock. Finds Bart Zassi. Ponytail tied up behind his head. To De Luca, himself rocking the ponytail as well. Gasparini. See that Clapham consciously trying to make them work it under.
Very low disc to Helton. Goes to ground to pick it up.
Scooped it well. Tried to rip that one through the inside window, did De Luca, but Swan Thompson was there and he was ready and waiting.
Felt like a slightly different defensive look from Clapham, not necessarily the kind of repressive shutdown defense downfield, but maybe finding the spaces and tempting that look a little bit.
Martin out wide to Eels. Modiano, lovely lead throw there to Mikhail. A couple of players take off deep, but Mikhail doesn't like it. Rather swing to Hillman instead. Hillman continues to salty, as they call him. Josh Eels on the far side. Tries to buy the foul on the mark.
Yeah, that's a bit of a transparent attempt there, I think. Really trying to like shoulder into his mark. Not sure why that sort of move is necessary when you have Hillman totally unmarked.
Generally in these scenarios, it is the defender getting too close, but I feel that Eels really did try and buy that one.
Well, he's got the physique of a rugby player and perhaps a little bit of the mentality. That did look a little bit like a drop shoulder, just move straight into the mark. But that's just our perspective.
Eels with those muscly legs. Goes back to Hillman. Hillman tries to find Orcock.
It's now over. Finish the point and play the next one.
And I think this might be an uncontested foul by Cable. Disc in Orcock's possession. Wind whips up. Mikhail down the far sideline. Oh, Swan Thompson drops it. Usually so reliable.
Yeah, really gusty moment. Swan Thompson perhaps just not prepared for how that disc was going to move. Big put down to Helton, but Mikhail gets a hand to it, pops it over the top. Helton doesn't have a play on it.
Yeah, as the game ticks on, maybe getting a little bit scrappy again.
Be interested to know if the scrappiness does directly correlate to the breeze and to the gusts that are coming, because the scrappiness is picking up and this is definitely getting significantly windier.
Hillman brings it to the line. Going wide to Orcock. Explosive athlete. Finds Swan Thompson. Swan Thompson just sits this out in front of Helton. Hits Mikhail in stride. Mikhail to Martin for the goal. Or not.
Strip called. Uncontested strip.
Goal
Felix
stand.
Martin, yeah, with the score, with the goal.
Good spirit there from La Fotta, just to take the breath and say, yeah, you had it, fair enough. There's no point arguing for the sake of it. It's Zani, the player, who tried to get his hand in there but was a beat too late. That'll make it 10-7 to Clapham in a game to 11. So 10-7 Clapham lead here. One more point will give them the title in their home tournament. La Fotta need to find 4 on the spin if they are to equal Shout and bring 2 London Invite titles back with them to Bologna. Shout with a storming performance in the women's final over Jeuken.
Stranger things have happened. I think we saw in the Tom's final, the teams from Noisy-le-Sec, Jeuken and Is No Good pulled off a similar feat. Jeuken dominating the women's final. Well, actually, it was a very tight game, but a dominant team in a tight pool. And Is No Good coming back from being behind to clinch out the win against La Fotta side.
Yeah, La Fotta split their teams O and D lines.
So we've seen it done before. It would be a sensational effort.
From this position, absolutely it would. Clapham very rarely relinquish leads, although, as you mentioned, Clapham not in that Tom's tourney final, having had a similar position against Is No Good, where they couldn't quite close it out. They'll have looked to have learned from that experience.
Yeah, it's not common for Clapham to give away a lead, but it has happened.
It's not unknown. Low through the centre of the pitch. Slaughter gobbles that one up easily. Armola wants to dump off to Mikhail. Mikhail rising throw. Armola snags it anyway. Modiano to Slaughter for the bookends and the win.
Making it look easy in that final point.
Clapham Ultimate are your London Invite Open Division champions. 11-7 the final score over CUSB Fotta, who pushed them like they did in the show game yesterday, but in the end, Clapham had too much for them.
Yeah, La Fotta really, there was sort of slow moments in their game. They let Clapham get ahead, but came out firing and managed to close the gap somewhat. Just in these final points, couldn't convert, couldn't clinch the enough points to narrow that gap. Clapham with a very, very decisive intercept to, smooth offense straight into the end zone for the score, for the game, to take them to be champions of this inaugural London Invite tournament.
Yeah, a game where Clapham never trailed. At one point, La Fotta brought it all the way back to 6-5. But Clapham were just able to pull it out, extend that advantage to the end, as we've seen so often. They do know how to bring it in the second half.
Yeah, beautiful flowing offense from Clapham. That's the kind of play that they want to be leaving on the field. And there'll be moments that they'll be disappointed with from that game, but there are also, they'll be pleased to end it on a kind of a clean look and playing their own game.
Absolutely, a hard-fought but deserved victory, I think you have to say, for Clapham.
Yeah, absolutely. In the end, they were the better team on the field today. La Fotta putting a lot of effort in and some unbelievable plays, like some real athleticism. We saw in one of the earlier points, just every single pass seemed to need a layout grab and kind of full maximum effort to be secured. And La Fotta were definitely like neck and neck with Clapham on a lot of those plays, but just not as able to convert them today. But as we say, this is a tournament that was designed to create a great element of competition, the last-ditch exposure to that level of competition before these teams head to Cincinnati World Club Championships, and they'll both go away with some real lessons from today.
You're getting the graphic there for the B Ultimate Player of the Game, and I think rather frustratingly, he's actually disappeared from the huddles, do some organisational stuff, And it brings me no great pleasure to say this because he's also organising the thing and it sounds like favouritism, but with 2 goals, an assist and 3 blocks to his name as well, we've given it to Conrad Wilson.
Yeah, Conrad had a great game, and also we're just very grateful to him and his team for bringing us all together here on such an excellently organised tournament. Here he is, the man himself, jogging over to his huddle, joining the boys.
There we go, just finally getting himself in frame once he's done his boring TD stuff. Yeah, a very good performance here from Clapham. Undefeated on the weekend. Ran through their pool yesterday, seeing off Bad Skid Ranelagh and Fotta. Comprehensively dealt with Wall City, avenged their elite invite demons in the semi-final, and then comfortable victory here as well. So, 11-7, final score. That'll do it for the London invite. It barely started, and yet it's all over.
Yep, it's been an eventful weekend. I think all the teams going away tired and worn out, but probably pretty pleased to have had this opportunity. It's been great to be here at Grasshoppers Rugby Club. They've been excellent hosts. And yeah, we've been here with Ulti TV, bringing you all the action from this pitch, where every single team at this tournament managed to get streamed. Of course, there is loads more action going on over in Limerick Island. Ulti TV are there, streaming the World Masters Club Championships, and we'll be there all week, so make sure you're checking them out. And to be sure you don't miss anything, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you can be up to date on all of the amazing content that Ulti TV bring you. Yeah, our colleagues in Limerick are live right now, bringing you Masters Open Division action between Isnogood and Priyal of India, as the wind rapidly tries to take us away. Thank you so much for watching Ulti TV's coverage of the London Invite. A reminder, as Rachel said, to make sure that you like, subscribe and ring the bell for notifications so you can get notified whenever we go live on YouTube. Subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/ultitv or ulti.tv for more information. For as little as a few currency a month, you can help Ulti TV provide live free Ultimate to the masses. Join the nearly 400 of you who have already subscribed, and we cannot thank you enough, whether you're just a basic member all the way up to our Ultimate teams, Ranelagh and Hardfish Hamburg, to our greatest patrons like Patrick from Maddox, Cameron and Co Architecture, the Ultimate board game. However much you contribute, it all helps us to allow you to bring you the sport that we all love so much, and we thank you eternally for your help. For all of our Ulti TV crew here, for Nicholas Ho, for Eggers Dimpers, for Milan van den Bovenkamp, for Tom Stiles, for Luke Burgess, and for Rachel Douglas, thank you so much for joining me this week. It's been a pleasure.
I am Benjamin Rees. Reminder that you can go and find the rest of our Ulti TV crew live in Limerick right now. We're going to pack all our stuff up and we will join you there. So 2 pitches from Tuesday. But for here at the London Invite, thank you very much for watching, and Ulti TV will see you on the other side.
I love working with a team towards a common goal.
For the camaraderie.
Camaraderie and playing with my teammates.
I play for my team.
Teamwork and the connections that I can build on and off field.
For the community and the exercise.
Because of the community and the competition.
I like playing Ultimate Frisbee for the competition.
I play for the competition and the fun.
For fun.
Because fun.
I love getting to work hard.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Leave everything out here.
Every time I step on the field, I want to be a better player.
You know, give something people to talk about.
Be happy but never satisfied. To step away from real life and focus on Frisbee.
I play because I love Ultimate.
Find your drive.
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 Alti.tv